Hello, welcome to Loops and Lore with Meg. And for today's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I just saw a TikTok of this guy who created a reading quiz, and I really wanted to go through and see what it's about because I love taking a good quiz and figuring out like personality types and that kind of thing. And I think this has to do with that, which makes me very excited to see like what it is. Find your color type. Let's do this. Begin quiz. You prefer stories that keep your heart racing with relentless action, encourage deep reflection and self-discovery, transport you to imaginative new worlds, or challenge traditional storytelling and conventions. I actually like quite a few of these. I do like some action. I don't need action in my books though. I do like reflective and self-discovery type things. But I think the number one thing for me is imaginative new worlds and that kind of creativity that storytelling can bring. But challenging traditional storytelling conventions is another really good one. But I think I'm going to do imaginative new worlds. So next, when choosing a nonfiction book, you prefer practical strategies and clear insights, emotional rich memoirs and about relationships, true stories of daring exploration, or practical ideas that push cultural boundaries. I'm gonna go with, I like the idea of true stories about daring exploration because I think that kind of delves into a lot of like the space memoir type books that I've read. But I think I'm gonna go with provocative ideas because I really like books that have more of an idea narrative to them. And that kind of thing, especially when it applies to science. I like that narrative science history type thing. A great ending leaves you feeling triumphant and invigorated, quietly enlightened, deeply moved, or emotionally stirred, or equipped with useful knowledge or skills. I'm gonna go with triumphant and invigorated. I want to feel excited after I finish a book. Your ideal fictional character is a hero on an epic quest. I do love epic quests. Unpredictable and genre defying. I do really like those too. Complex and emotionally authentic. Again, really good. And bold and relentlessly courageous. I'm actually gonna go genre defying. I really like when things are slightly different from the norm for different genres, or like mixing genres is another one of my favorite things. You're drawn to writing styles that are lyrical and insightful, clearly present ideas without fluff, experiment with language and structure, or vividly describe expansive worlds. So I think I'm gonna go with vividly describe expansive worlds. Because if I look at some of my favorite books, they are fantasy books that have a little bit of a lyrical prose to them, but it's because they are using their words to really develop the world the best. So I think that is my first choice. Clearly presents ideas without fluff would be close to there. I don't handle experiment with language and structure. I can't understand it very well, so that's not for me. I do like lyrical and insightful though, but I think I'm going to go with expansive worlds. You read primarily to experience thrill, high-staking situations, connect deeply with emotional experiences, gain practical, actionable insight, or explore life's profound mysteries. I am going to go with I think I'm going to go with the first one. I want to have fun when I read. But all those other ones, like, I want to have too. This is a really hard quiz because I find, like, all of them are, like, stuff that I enjoy. You just like books that are mundane and lacking imagination, predictable or conventional, vague or lacking practical in application, or superficial or overly simplistic. I'm going to go definitely lacking imagination. You rather read a book about complex relationships and emotions, survival, and overcoming incredible odds, journeys through imaginary lands, or historical events with useful lessons? I mean, I gotta go imaginary lands. I love my fantasy and sci-fi, okay? Which setting appeals most to you? A bizarre, dreamlike universe, a futuristic fantasy realm, a quiet place with inner reflection, a dangerous, adrenaline-filled situation? I'm definitely going to go futuristic fantasy realm. I don't know why I was thinking like I was not going to do that. A memorable book makes you smarter or more capable, feel deeply or empathize strongly, gain new perspective on life, or question reality and traditional ideas. I think it's definitely question reality or traditional ideas. That would be pretty memorable out of those four. Your bookshelf contains mostly contains fantasy sci-fi. That is true. 100%. I don't even have to read all the rest of them. I know that fantasy is my number one genre on my shelf and sci-fi is my second. You prefer authors who innovate and take creative risk, provide practical wisdom or skills, write honestly about raw emotions, build intricate and imaginative worlds. It's so close to being number one, though. So close, but it's definitely world building is one of my favorite things. A great protagonist is courageous, resilient, and driven, thoughtful, introspective, and wise, complex, unconventional, and unpredictable, vulnerable, authentic, and emotionally rich. I think if they are vulnerable and authentic and emotionally driven, I tend to connect with them more. Because all the other things they can still be, but if they're like emotionally there, then I feel like you connect with the character more. When you finish a book, you love to feel, I feel like we already answered this, but better prepared for life's challenges, intellectually stimulated and inspired, captivated by the depth of the imagination, or emotionally fulfilled and connected. I'm definitely going to do captivated by imagination. You prefer books that explore inner journeys and philosophical ideas, heroic deeds and impossible odds, real-world applications of knowledge, or radical or abstract concepts. I mean, have a look at all the books that I've read. This is definitely what I've read the most. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite thing, though. But I'm going to click it because I have definitely read that the most. If a book doesn't grab you, it's probably because it lacks emotional depth, it moves too slowly, it feels too ordinary or predictable, it doesn't provide meaningful reflection. If I am going to DNF a book, it's normally because of these first three things. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I have to go to emotional depth, because if I'm not feeling anything, then I'm definitely going to DNF it. If it's just going slow, I will sometimes push through that in the hope that it picks up at some point. But if I'm just not feeling it at all, then it's definitely going to end up being a DNF. Your ideal reading experience teaches you something valuable, sweeps you away to another place, makes you feel deeply, breaks conventions, and surprises you. Sweeps me away to another place. I think that's my number one thing I do for reading, is I want to be transported to the world that the author is creating. You typically avoid books that feel formulaic or safe, are abstract without clear lessons, lack intensity or excitement, stay on the surface without deeper meaning. Again, all of these are reasons that I have DNF'd a book in the past. I think the worst of these is probably to feel formulaic or safe. I don't want to read a book that feels like I've already read 5 versions of it that are done better. And I feel like that's kind of what that is getting to. You're most excited by high-stakes adventures or mysteries, unusual settings and vivid descriptions, profound insights about life or humanity, stories of intense personal experience. I mean, I'm going to go unusual settings and vivid descriptions. A book that leaves a lasting impression usually provides practical takeaways, opens your mind to new possibilities, deepens your understanding of yourself, or stretches your imagination. I am a creative at heart, so anything that makes me imagine more things is a good thing. When recommending books, you suggest ones that move you emotionally, offer real world wisdom, deliver intense thrills, or offer something unexpected. I think I'm going to go with offer something completely unexpected. That's one of the reasons why Law's Locke and More was one of my favorite books I read recently. Is because I was not able to predict anything that was coming. And that was really cool. If you're restricted with only one genre, you would choose epic fantasy or imaginative sci-fi. Why, yes, I would. I do really love literary reflective tales, though. In nonfiction, but not like history nonfiction. That's not my jam. I want to try it, but I haven't tried it yet. You judge a book by how much it challenges your assumptions, gives you useful insights, makes you feel something profound, or stimulates your imagination. I feel like we've answered this one. This is kind of a little bit, I've noticed, but I think that's typically, things do that. Your favorite characters are often wise and introspective, brave and determined, adventurous and imaginative, deeply relatable, and emotionally complex. If I am thinking of my favorite characters, emotionally complex, I would say yes, but I don't relate to my favorite characters. I don't think that's it. Wise and introspective, there are so many of my characters that are that, but I feel like I gotta go adventurous and imagination. Again, that word is like my buzzword when it comes to books, I guess. Your ideal reading atmosphere: quiet, focused, and conducive to learning, stimulating, provocative, and unexpected, immersive and transporting, peaceful, reflective, and calm. I'm going to do immersive because I literally talk all the time about how immersive reading is my favorite, where I have the audiobook and visually reading. So I'm definitely going to pick that one. Ooh, I am an orange reader, the serial world hopper. So what is an orange reader? The orange reader thrives on masterful world building. They look for stories with imagination, exploration, and vivid storytelling that transports them far beyond the ordinary. They seek out expansive worlds, epic adventures, and richly detailed narratives that ignite the sense of wonder and possibility. For them, reading is about discovery, excitement, embarking on journeys that stretch the imagination. Okay, your fiction preferences: epic, fantasy, and richly imagined saga, science fiction that explores speculative futures and alternate realities, historical fiction packed with adventure, discovery, and immersive detail, dystopian stories that challenge societal norms and push boundaries, and imaginative tales that blend realism with fictional or speculative elements. Yes to all of that. Your nonfiction preferences: engaging accounts of exploration, discovery, or daring journeys, historical narratives that bring pivotal moments vividly to life, scientific explorations that push the boundaries of current knowledge, travel logs and adventure memoirs brimming with excitement and discovery, and thought-provoking essays or books that speculate on humanity's future. All those sound like I could like them. I don't know that I've read anything like that. Okay, so it recommends me Dune, which is on my TBR, The Way of Kings, which is on my TBR, Outlander, which is on my TBR, and Shogun, which I didn't realize until recently was actually a book before it was a show, but it has been on my to-watch list forever, so I do need to read that at some point. Get more recommendations below. Okay. The 50 essential books for an orange reader. Oh, goodness. To get more, I have to buy it. I don't want to buy it. Man, I would really like to get the little toolkit, but I don't know if I want to spend $15 on this. Especially since, like, looking at the list of authors here, I'm like, yeah, I've read most of those. So clearly I'm already reading within my color. So I don't know, like, what 50 books it's going to have on there that I don't already know about. Hey, this is Editing Megan. I was going through and listening back and editing this, and I wanted to kind of insert just a little quick, thoughts I was having about this quiz and a little bit of the issues I kind of had with it. Because it was pitched in the way that this was a genre-defying quiz. Like, it was more about your underlying reading tone versus the base genres that fall into it. And then it goes through, and very clearly I can pinpoint through the questions what genre each answer was pointing to. And I looked at the 6 different types that you can get online for the different ones, and they very much speak to genres. And then the suggestions that you get for your color, I got all fantasy. There was nothing that was outside of my genre. And it would have been very cool if it would have, okay, even if this is my genre, to go through and be like, okay, you like this. Here's a historical fiction that matches that. Here's literary that matches into that. Because otherwise it's just a genre quiz. And that's what it kind of came down to for me. And I wonder if the book suggested for these other colors all were in the same grouping as well, like mine was for orange. I don't know that they are, but it feels that way. So I just want to kind of come up in and say that I felt a little disappointed in this quiz, in the sense that it pitched it in a way that it didn't actually follow through with, and that wasn't my favorite. So now we know what my reading personality color is. I am an orange. Let me know what color you are if you have taken the quiz, and give me like a little short buzz about what it says you are for that color. That is it for me. So like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Happy reading. Stay cozy. Stay crafty. Bye.